Hello students. So now let's move on to the second chapter in economics, that is utility analysis. Utility analysis. Okay. So let's recall. One is want. Want. What do you mean by the word want? It denotes a feeling of lack of satisfaction. Want means what? I want that thing. Lack of satisfaction. Second is what? These wants are unlimited. They keep on increasing. When one want is satisfied, the other occurs. That's why they are recurring in nature. Recurring in nature. Then is they differ with age, gender, season. Okay, boys and girls have different wants. Then according to the season, rainy, summer, okay, winter season, habits, and culture differ as per the culture also. Okay, then is utility is the capacity of a commodity to satisfy the human wants. Capacity to satisfy. It is a capacity to satisfy human wants. In other words, utility is the want satisfying power of a good. Okay. So this was the recall in this chapter. So now let's move to the introduction. Introduction to this chapter. We have already studied the concept of utility in class 11. Okay, if you remember that, we have this in class 11. It gives a detailed explanation of the consumer's behavior. Okay, in practice, every individual tries to satisfy his want with what? Available resources. We try to satisfy with whatever is available to us, available resources. Okay, it's true that all human wants cannot be satisfied fully at a specific time. They cannot be satisfied at a specific time. Cannot be satisfied at a specific time. Okay, just remember that they are recurring in nature. They keep on increasing, but we cannot be satisfied or fully satisfied. Utility explains the consumer behavior in relation to maximization. It explains the consumer's behavior in relation to maximization of satisfaction, whether with the specific commodity the consumer is able to satisfy himself or not. Okay, so let's see how we can in day-to-day life satisfy ourselves. So list down 10 things which are important, like which try to satisfy your wants. Okay, 10 things, right, which satisfy your wants, and 10 things which satisfies the want of a specific person. Example, for teacher, the chalk is important. So chalk is the commodity which satisfies the teacher, and it has the utility for the teacher. So you can write chalk for the teacher, then stethoscope to the doctor. And as I am teaching you, this whiteboard pen is important for me, so you can state whiteboard pen to the teacher, okay, or the chalk to the teacher, whatever you can. So list down the 10 things which satisfy your wants and 10 things which satisfy the wants of specific person, just to understand how the wants change with the each person. Okay, fine. So this is an activity. Try to do this activity at home. So let's move on to the features of utility. Features, it's a relative concept. Relative means what? It's related to time and place. It's related to time and place. What does this mean? It's related to time and place. It's a relative concept. It varies from time to time and place to place. Example, woolen clothes have greater utility at the time of winter season, woolen clothes. Okay, and they are winter season also, they have more utility at the place where there is ice fall or something. Okay, not in places which are dry. Same thing with sand. Sand is more useful at the construction site than at the seashore. Okay, so it's a relative concept and it is related to time and place. Subjective. It's a subjective concept. Subjective is means it's a psychological concept. Subject. Psychological concept. It differs from person to person. It differs from person to person. This is due to the difference in taste, like dislikes, nature, habits, profession. Because what I like, the same thing you won't like those things. Okay, because our likes, dislikes are different. Our nature, habits, profession. Example, as I gave you before, when making the 10 list of 10 things, stethoscope is important to a doctor and not to a teacher. So that are subjective, because doctor is going to treat the patient, not the teacher. Okay, so that's why it's subjective. Ethically neutral concept. Ethically neutral concept. So the concept of utility has no ethical consideration. Okay, ethical. It is morally colorless concept. There is nothing you can see on this. Okay, it's colorless. Commodity satisfy any want of a person without consideration whether it's good and bad, desirable, undesirable. Okay, ethically neutral, because the concept will not ethically neutral. Neutral means what? It's not able to identify whether what is good, what is bad, what is desirable, undesirable. Example, if you have a knife, okay, you can harm you can harm some person with the help of a knife, or you can use it to cut vegetables and fruits. So that is why it's the knife has the utility to cut the fruits and vegetable, as well as it's used to harm someone. Both wants are different in nature, but it is satisfied with the same commodity, hence it is known as ethically neutral. It doesn't know whether it is going to harm or it's going to help someone. It differs from usefulness. Differs from usefulness. Utility is the capacity of a commodity to satisfy human wants, whereas usefulness indicates the value of use in the commodity. Okay. Example, milk has both utility as well as usefulness, while liquor has utility only but has no usefulness. Okay. For milk, it is utilized and it's useful for human health, but liquor, it's utilized but it's not at all useful. Okay, so it differs from usefulness. Fifth one, it differs from pleasure. Differs from pleasure. Okay, a commodity may pose utility, but it may not give any pleasure to the consumer. Example, injection. Example is what? Injection. It gives, if a person is ill and is not well, a doctor gives injection to that patient. Okay, so who likes to take injection? No one, right? So but the injection has utility, it cures the ailment, but it hardly gives any pleasure. Okay, it doesn't give any pleasure or enjoyment to the patient, so that's why it's different from pleasure. Okay, the last one is the next one is utility is different from satisfaction. It differs from satisfaction. I'll write over here. Differs from satisfaction. Okay, utility is the cause of consumption, satisfaction is the end of consumption. Okay, What is utility? Is a cost. That is why you are consuming it. It has the utility, that's why you are consuming that commodity. And what is the end result of consumption? Satisfaction. You get satisfied when you utilize that or use that thing. They are interrelated but different concept. They are interrelated. Okay, interrelated but different concepts. For example, thirsty person drinks a glass of water since water has capacity to satisfy his thirst. Utility of water is the cost of utility and satisfaction, and the end result is he is getting satisfied by drinking that water. Okay, his thirst is satisfied. Okay. Measurement of utility is hypothetical. Hypothetical means what? Utility is an abstract concept. Okay, cardinal or measurement of utility is not possible. You cannot measure it actually. Example, a thirsty person after drinking a glass of water may derive higher or lower level of utility. Utility can only be experienced and found either positive. It can either be positive, negative, or zero. You cannot measure it in numbers. It can either be higher, lower, positive, negative, zero. Negative utility is what? Negative utility called disutility. Negative utility is what? Disutility. Okay. Utility is multi-purpose. Okay, I'll write over here. Multi-purpose. A commodity can satisfy the want of more than one person. It can be put to several use. Example, electricity. It can be used to serve many purposes for many people at the same point of time. Electricity is not necessary that you light bulbs and tube lights and fans and AC. It can be used for industrial use also, for running some machines. Okay, for creating some other things also with the help of electricity. Okay. Ninth is utility depends on intensity of want. Intensity. How important that thing is, how intense you are for that, satisfying that want. Utility depends on the intensity. More intense the want, greater will be the utility. Means if you are thirsty and at the same time you get water, so water, the intensity of that want is more for water at that time when you are thirsty. Okay, but when you are not thirsty, that water might not be important for you. Same thing with the hungry person. He finds more utility in food when he is hungry, whereas when he is not hungry, it doesn't satisfy. The intensity is not there. Okay, more intense the want, greater will be the utility. And when the urgency of want declines, the utility diminishes. Utility is the basis of demand. Okay, on the basis of demand only we have the next chapter, demand analysis. Okay, basis of demand. A person will demand a commodity only if it gives utility to him. Example, a sick person. Only a sick person will buy medicines. A person who is fit and fine, why will he buy medicines? So that is why medicines for a sick person has more utility, and he demands the medicines. That is why he demands medicine, because he is sick. So it's the basis of demand. Utility is the basis of demand. For a person for whom the medicines are not useful, for him, he will not demand the medicines. Okay. So that features of utility, there are 10 features, just remember that. And we will move on to the next thing, that is types of utility. Thank you.